Hello there guys, today I'm going to be painting some of my Necrons. What I've decided to do is try and get them all painted in one go pretty much. So I've got my elite set here of Necrons. I've been working on the Marines as well. I've got a few of them that I've been doing, which is hence why my hands might be a little bit blue. So I've been doing some spraying of some of my guys, including my commander, and even having a go at some of these guys, Vanguard veterans. Oops, if I can get that to focus. So I'm still working on these guys at the moment, but today I'm going to start doing some of my Necrons. So I've got my 3 choppy guys. So these guys have been pre-sanded because I do like sanding the bases on them. Then doing the priming coat just to seal it all in, because I'm a bit too quick and easy really. I can put some more stuff on there. I've got various little artificial grasses I can top the bases up. I've got my plasma site, I believe he's called. He's been done, ready to be painted up. My scarabs, my scarabs, and my overlord. So I'm going to start off by doing a spray coat on all of them. Now the paints I'm going to be using for this is what I love this colour, the Canoptic Alloy. It's like a silver with a little bit of brass in it. It's absolutely fantastic. Now some people recommend you don't do this, but I have actually pre-mixed. I like to pre-mix basically, so I've got plenty to work with. Pre-dilute it so I can go into my airbrush and away you go. Other colours I'm planning on using my favourite wash of all time, Nuln Oil. Fantastic. I'll probably just give them a thorough coating in that after I've done my sprays. What else do I have? I've got a couple of earthy shades. I've got my Seraphim Sepia and my Agrax Earth shade. So I do like those. Depends on how dark I want to go. I might be using them more as a glaze, I think, but we'll see how it goes. And we've got Abaddon Black for touching things up. I may or may not use this. I've got lots of metallics. The Tesseract Bronze, it's a little bit dark. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about that, but it's out with all my paints. In fact, I can show you what the bronze looks like on my marine bike. So that's been done with the bronze. Obviously, this guy's not even been finished yet. I'm still working on him. I've just done some ink washing, done the black, a little bit of basic stuff on there. Nothing too fancy or spectacular as yet. But I'm working on my bikes. Just done their bases as well, sanding their bases, so I can paint them separately, plonk the bike straight on top. And I will definitely be using this. I absolutely love Necron Compound. It's a proper dry silver paint, and you can use it on all metallics. The stuff is absolutely fantastic. So they're the paints I'm mainly going to be using, and I've got them all primed. The coat is dry, so it's all ready to be airbrushed. So on to the next step. Okay, so I've got my airbrush. It's only a super cheap one. I only ever really use cheap ones. Don't have the money to buy a nice £500, £600, £700 plus airbrush. I tend to ruin them quite quickly anyway. So I've got a small amount in there, so we'll see how that goes. Give it a spray and see what the results are. So let's just give it a quick go, shall we? I forgot to mention, I'm running at about 22 psi. I find putting a little bit higher pressure on this actually is going to help in the process. I just seem to find it works better for me. You're probably not supposed to, but that's how I've done a lot of my other Necrons, which if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see quite a lot of the stuff I've been painting. So let's give this guy a go and see what happens. Okay, so that's like the first pass. I'll go through all of them, give them all a light brushing and a light dusting, and I'll probably give them another go over after they're all done and see how they all turn out. I'm quite pleased with that. Not bad for a first start. It's a nice thin coat, and that should be dry quite quick actually, so let's carry on and do some more. Okay, I've gone through 3 of these guys now. Let's start to work on little boss dude and we'll see how he turns out. Yep, I think I'm really impressed with that guy. How easy is that? Well, gotta say, I'm super stoked. Let's just give him a quick builder blast here. On that top. And there we go. Beautiful. Right, so there we go. That only took about 10 minutes. I'll just go through some of them, what they look like. Let's bring him up nice and close. Super nice, shiny finish. He's looking very nice indeed. Try and get the light on him a little bit better. Let's see if I can show him over here. Oh dear, the light's terrible and my camera doesn't want to focus. Right, there we go. So we've got him in there. The scarabs just look amazing. I mean, they're almost tabletop ready anyway. You know, you could give them a light dry brush, but the little dots, oh, try to stay in focus please. The little dots on top tend to do those in a nice green colour, so they come out. Painting the base is always fun on these things. Got to get underneath there and not ruin any of the silver. And there we go, looking very nice. Let's get some light on him so you can see him. Very shiny and very silver. Yeah, I always make half of these. Whenever I paint them up, half of them I give them the short range weapon, and the other one the long. I can never remember the names of them. I know that one's an extra point of strength, and it's shorter range. But the great thing is as you're removing casualties, depending on what the tactical situation is, if you're at the back of the table and you still need the range, you can take the more powerful guns off. If they're in a more forward position, they start taking casualties, take the longer guns off. So I like to make every little bit of the rules help in whatever the situation. So I'll usually be deploying these half and half long range, half short range. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's the plan. That's how I intend it to go. So this is pretty much all dried now. I'm in my plasma sights here as well. There he is, all nice and silver and shiny. So the next thing I'll do is start giving them all a nice wash, and I will be using Null oil. Right, so here we go, getting ready with the Null oil on this guy. Always give it a good shake. You guys have been painting for years will know this. If you don't, it comes out like gloss, which if that's the effect you want, that's fine, but you can buy gloss washes anyway. But yeah, give it a good thorough shake. And I think I'll start off by giving this guy a nice bath. Yes, some people might be horrified. I'm not detail washing, but these guys are going to look shiny in silver, and it's quicker and easier just to give them an all-over wash, really, with the Null oil. So let's have a go. Let's just move these guys out of the way. It's been given a good shake. I've got an old Citadel base brush. It has seen better days, unfortunately, but never throw your brushes away. And let's have a go. I'm painting straight from the pot. Yes, I know you shouldn't be doing that either, but yeah, I want to do these guys with a little bit of speed. Give them a nice wash all over. Oh yes, Let's go down his legs. Speed wash, speed wash. I think I've painted a couple of these other characters before actually. I tend to put a little bit more colour on them. Usually brasses and touch of gold. In fact, I will probably do a jump cut, maybe show you some B-roll, and I'll show you what my Illuminos Xerath looks like. He hasn't been painted this way at all, actually. I airbrushed him with, what did I use? I used a grey, a dark grey. I'm not sure which it was. It might have been Administratum Grey, the actual airbrush that Games Workshop actually sell. But I found that you get a little bit more paint in the pot, but I've not really found their actual airbrush paints to be any better at actually applying than the regular ones, as long as you thin them down. I just use water. I don't use any special thinners or anything. So, oh, I have not glued him in place. Oops. Well, that can be fixed later on. I forgot to glue his spine in. Just putting wash all over, not really paying a great deal of attention. Obviously I'm talking to you guys on the video. But is there anything that I've missed? Probably. So on the back of the head maybe, who knows. So that's it. I'm just giving him all a liberal wash. This isn't a particularly difficult thing to do. In fact, the whole process, I mean, you don't have to use an airbrush. I just like to use it because of the speed. I mean, there's no way in, it was between 5 and 10 minutes, I think, to actually spray all of these guys. Doing it by hand, sure, it's going to take you a little bit longer. Remember to thin that paint down quite a bit so it doesn't go all claggy all over the model. But yes, I am rather happy. So yeah, here he is. Let me just close that up before I end up knocking it over, knowing clumsy on me. So let's bring him up so you can see him a little bit better. So literally airbrushed over black primer and given a wash, and that's basically him done. Well, him done in terms of all his basing anyway, all the details to pick out later on. I think that's beautiful. How easy is that? Say my compressor, not a particularly expensive compressor. You can get the little cheap Chinese ones that are good enough. I mean, I started with those anyway. So if you haven't tried airbrushing before, it's definitely worth a go. Yes, very silver. You can see where I've a bit of overspray, but hey, looking a bit snazzy in 70s there. Right, so what I'll do next is I'm going to oil wash. Oh, sorry, oil wash. Null oil wash the rest of these guys, and then we'll see how they turn out. Okay, so these guys have all had their wash now. Difficult to tell in my horrible lighting, but these guys have all had a wash. It's still wet, so I can't dry brush as yet, but it is going to be a thing. Let's show one of these. Okay, so he's actually had, oops, focus. What's going on with focus today? Yeah, so he's had his null oil wash. He's looking absolutely fantastic. So when that's dry, it's going to be a dry brush all over of Necron Compound. If I can find my brushes, I did have, I've got a whole series of completely cheapo dry brushes, but they're good enough to do the job. So I'll be going over probably one that's a little bit larger than this, giving them once over with a dry brush. But the colours I did forget to mention completely are for the greens, because I'm going to, once I've done the dry brushing, I've got two greys. So basically paint the guns grey, so it does stand out from the silver. So I'll be doing a base coat of quite a thin coat of Eshin grey, followed by either an edge highlight. I think I do a slightly thin, yeah, it's a very, very thin coat of Dawnstone on my other guys, if I remember. And after that, the fun part is to pick out all of the green. So the greens that I will be using, in fact the colours, let's just get them all together. Okay, so we'll start off with a Warpstone Glow. This is a base coat for any of the green shades. Topped off with Moot Green over the top to give you basic greens. After I've done that, I've got a very, very thin Aerial Yellow. It's a super nice yellow colour. I do like it. It's very, very thin. I've actually got a pot like, what's this? I don't even know what colour. Oh no, that's the colour I've been using. No, it's another. What colour is that? I have no idea what I've mixed there. Never mind. But I've got a pot with some of this all in, so it's very, very, very thin, which is the tiniest little dot which kind of blends in as a final highlight over the Moot Green. So that's what I'll be doing with the greens, followed by this stuff is absolutely amazing, Tesseract Glow. So once you've done whatever your green is, just around the edges to give you that illusion of glowing light is this stuff. Now it needs shaking so much so it doesn't look like that. I think it's just been laying flat in my paint case, but it gives you such an amazing effect, which I'll be able to show you on some of my models to give you that nice glowing effect. Now, if they did that with some of the other colours for blues and reds, you can get those kind of effects, but this nice luminous colour that comes out is absolutely phenomenal. They need to produce these kind of vivid colours in a technical, a lot more vivid than the ones that they currently do anyway, and I'll start using these an awful lot more. So what I'm going to do next is wait for these fellas to dry off, and they will get their dry brush, and then I can show you the next step. Okay, so it's the next step. It's time to crack out the... No, not Roofhang Steel. What am I looking at? There we go. Oops. It's time to crack out the Necron Compound. So... Oops, a daisy. I'm going to get myself a decent sized dry brush. Quite stiff bristled. I prefer stiff bristle dry brushes. Now I'm going to give it a good old swirl around the pot and take a fair bit off the sides here. Okay, and I'll get myself a piece of rather well used tissue. Okay, let's wipe that off. So we've got a fair amount on there. Let's start on this guy, and pretty much any way you like, really, just tackle it. Let's don't need to worry about anything other than the actual armour of his body, but we're going to give that a good going over. Okay, if I can get that back in shot so you can see what I'm actually doing on here. See how it brings that up, looking nice and shiny. Let's give it a good run over the top. Ooh. There we go. Okay. Yeah, still need to glue that part down, which I've not done yet. But that's had a nice dry brush on top there. There we go. So let's just go on these little raised edges a little bit more. Yeah, I've still got some paint on there. That's a good thing about these stiff bristle brushes, you can kind of tell when they're dry. Brush material's all dipped away. And that is the dry brushing done. Now each stage for everything I've done so far is 5-10 minutes. So 5-10 minutes more of dry brushing, and then we shall move on to the next part. Okay, so with all of this done, I'll give you some nice close-up shots of what that silver looks like. There we go. These guys here, looking super shiny and silver. And to show one of these guys off as well. Oops. So, focus. There we go. So that's these guys. So what I'm going to do next, may or may not show this part, I'm going to do a quick bit of base coating. So what I'm going to be doing first is black blades, repaint those all black. That's what we're doing on these guys. I'm going to be using, where are you? There we go. Going to be using Eshin Grey, that colour there, give it a good shake, and I'm going to be doing all of these guns here, including the axe at the front. Don't worry about the cable because I'm going to paint that another colour. What I will do is Mr. Plasma Sight as well. I'll probably just do the stonework here in that kind of grey. This will be some kind of other metal work. I'll make it look suitably rusty. Definitely going to be doing the green effect with this. In fact, speaking of which, I will probably base coat some of the green, which is the Warpstone Glow. Shouldn't take long at all. And what I'll do next is I'm going to be doing the little orbs in the centre as well with that Warpstone Glow. So I'll just do some quick base coating on those. We'll come back and we'll get to a little bit more fun stuff, because you don't want to see me doing loads of base coating. Base coating is pretty simple and straightforward, so I'll show you the results of that later. Okay, so got some black on these. Oh, if the camera wants to focus on them. So just a thin coat of black. I'm going to be painting some more colours on that. I just didn't want as much silver shining through. And I've decided to paint these parts black as well. Oops, try not to knock everything over. And I've gone for the grey on here. Still showing a little bit of silver through that grey, but by the time I've given it some ink washes, that should disappear. And just a very, very quick coat on the guns. So super quick, nice and simple, and that's it. That's the guns coated. So I'm going to work on the green next. Just get me some green mixed up, and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, let's get started on some green. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, go over the top, try not to hit anything too much. It won't matter actually if you go over the top, because the surrounding edges either side of the ball are going to have their own little bit of green highlights on. So I have noticed if you make a mistake, I mean, you can wash it off with water anyway before it dries. Some more paint on here. And my paint palette's drying up pretty quick. Come on. Oh, this brush is starting to go. I'm going to need to buy some more brushes. Let's just get some more paint mixed up here. Got a wet palette on my knee at the moment. Let's see if that's going to help me out any more. Okay, just be nice and careful, nice and neat. Oops, possibly a little bit too much on there, but not so I think you would notice. Okay, and I'll use the benefit of this camera. Right, this guy here, I've missed a bit. Let's see if I can get back in. Oh, hang on, let's see if I can show you that. This guy over on this side, I have missed a bit. Okay, I think I've got all of that green. Oh, no, I haven't. Yes, this camera is proving quite helpful. Should use that more often so I get a nice zoom in rather than using my magnifier that's on this side. So I've got two of those. What the heck. Let's get Mr. Third Guy. I'll show you that one because it is quite a satisfying effect putting 3 dollops of green paint on something. Okay, let's try again. Have I missed any? Yes, I have. Missed a little bit there. Oh no, that paintbrush is definitely on its way out. But it's good enough to do this job anyway, before I have to spend more money. Because paintbrushes are, well, they can be expensive if you do want the Citadel ones. Should probably find another one somewhere else. Oh no, I've missed a little bit of green on that side as well. Okay. Oh, that one's still got a little bit more missing on the side. Well, if I've missed any, I'll have another look. Okay, so let's just pop these over here. So from a distance already, that's just with that green. The next thing I'm going to do, let's just go straight on to, sorry, that's me giving it a shake. Go on to Moot Green. So I'll brush a little bit of a wash. Let's get some green. Don't need a lot, little tiny bit on the brush. It's quite thin. No, too thin. Okay, so let's give this a go. So we're going to go straight over the top, leave a little bit around the outsides, which is there, which is there, which is there, which is there, some there, and some there. Let's just have a look under the camera. Yeah, we've got a little bit of effects going on. Let's just give him some more. A bit more green. Okay, yeah, so we've got some nice little greens on there. What I'm going to go and do now is I'll move straight on to the yellow, which is going to be a little bit of aerial yellow. Still mixed up. I only need the tiniest of tiny amounts here. Let's get some yellow together It is the tiniest little blob. Okay, so on the top, oops, may have put a little bit too much on that, but it is quite thin, so it might start to disappear. Oops, that's more of a line than a dot. Okay, let's just get that one on there, that bit on there, that bit on there, and a little bit on there as well. So there's my green glowing effects. Now that's pretty close, but from a distance I think that looks apart. Now one more thing I've got to do. Let's just close the paints up before I send them flying everywhere, is to get the technical paint. So I'll start giving this a little bit of a shake. So, oh no, not the camera off. I've still not quite got the mix going back, so I'll give it another shake. Keep going. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how these guys are going to turn out. So scarabs are just so easy to do. I mean, in between all these stages, it's taking me minutes to kind of get all the painting done. So that's kind of good enough for me, because I'm not putting a lot on. It's going to be straight from the pots. So let's get this poor little old brush that's seen better days. I mean, it's got some life left in it. We'll brush a little bit off the pot. But basically, all I'm going to do is a little bit of this technical stuff on the silver, just there. Make it look like it's glowing. A little bit on the head. Little bit on here. Little bit on here. Little bit on here. Bit on there. Bit on there. Let's get a little bit more. A little bit on there. A little bit on here. Bit on there. A little bit on there. See how easy that goes on? I mean, as long as you've got a steady hand, there's not a great deal of skill involved in it. See, as my hand starts shaking, which you may be picking on up on camera, I'm not too sure. But that is my little glowing scarabs, which I think, if the camera wants to focus again, I'm really pleased with. Super easy, super effective. In fact, what I might do is, I'm seeing those little dots for their eyes, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I think I've still got my green around here somewhere. Let's see if this will work. Let's put a little bit on there. Put a little bit of green on top. There we go. I mean, apart from colouring the, if I can keep my hands still for 5 seconds, apart from colouring in the base, that's good enough to put on the tabletop. So we'll stand him back, see if you can see the difference between these and those. And that's basically the scarabs done, as far as I'm concerned. Get the basing sorted out, bit of dry brushing on the bases, and that's the scarabs finished. So I'm going to move on to the next step. Okay, and I've just painted these in exactly the same method. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put quite a nice amount of my Tesseract Glow just around the outside of this, just to finish it off. Trouble is, when he's down here on the tabletop, you're really not going to see him that much. So it's just to give you the effect, really. Let's put some of this on. Let's get some of this in here. So I'm just going to put, I might have too much on my brush there, just around the sides. give you that little glow on the outside. I love, oh hang on, I've just dipped my brush in the wrong paint. Fantastic. Close your pots, ink stir, make sure you finish your pots and you close them, that will help. Okay, put some more of this on around the outside. Oops, possibly a bit too much there, yeah, a bit too much, but this stuff is not bad at all. So it's going to give me a, whoops, it's going to give me a nice glow effect on the tabletop there. I'll let that dry off, and for me that's good enough. So on to the next step. Okay, so my next step is I'm going to just put some highlights on these weapons here. So I've got myself my Dawnstone, which is this one here, giving it a quite nice thinning down. Let's get myself set up. Let's find the brush. Don't want too much on the brush. Only needs to be good enough to look okay from a distance. So in a second, just reposition this light so you can see a little bit better. Right. Okay, let's start. So get the Dawnstone. Let's put a little bit on there. Put a little bit on there. Put a little bit on here and here. Not doing too bad for this tatty old brush. It's definitely seen better days. Put some more on there. A little bit more on there. A little bit more on here. Okay. Where else do I want it? A little bit on the top. A little bit of highlighting. Nothing too fancy. I want to get these guys on the tabletop. There we go, just a little bit of highlighting on there. So move him down. Looks good enough from a distance. Again, nothing super special. In fact, I might tidy that up a little bit. It's very difficult doing it at this angle actually. It's been a while since I've painted at this angle. Let's try and clean that up a little bit. Let's a little bit more on there. Move it around. Sorry, it went all quiet then. Oh dear. Trying to do it at that angle. I think I need glasses. Spent far too long painting all of this stuff up. Right, yeah. So it's quite thin. Not massively happy about it, but that's pretty much the idea behind it. It'll look okay from a distance. It's good enough. Yeah, not so bad for being under pressure. Obviously there's quite a lot of light on that at the moment. Let's move that out of the way a little bit. So got my three little guys down here. Got these. Next thing I'll do is I'll probably put something on the blades. Now you could just put a different type of silver on this. Bit of a dry brush. I'm going to try and show you how I do NMM, which is non-metallic metal. I am by far not the best at it. Not super brilliant. In fact, if I bring my captain over, I just had a few practices with my captain, Where is he? Here we go. Let me just focus on there. Not the best in the world, but then you are looking at it zoomed right up close on camera, so from a distance I've got to tidy that up a little bit, but that's the kind of effect I'm going for. It's a lot easier with this this green, so I'm going to try and do it with some green colours, and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, so let's just move my paint out of the way a little bit more. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so I'm just going to start on the roughly on the corner of this blade. Let's get myself set up and ready. I've got some quite thin green. I'm going to go right up to the crease part on this model. I'll make it nice and thin to go all the way up there. In fact, I might just start over on this side. Okay, definitely got too much paint on there. Let's give it a bit of a wipe. Come on, Mr. Brush. Hold it together, you've been doing well so far. Go for a little bit more on there now. Okay, that's the first little layer. I'll switch over to my lighter green, back to the moot green now for the lighter green. Let's get some more of that going. Okay, so I'm going to mix some of that green. We'll get another shade going. Okay, let's go for the next effect. Okay, so it's a little bit lighter. Okay, let's get some more mixed up. A little bit further along the line. Keeping it nice and thin. Let's get some more green in there. Keeping it nice and thin still. Okay. Always making the brush go towards the tip. Get some more. Get some more green. We're going to go a bit further towards the edge. Let's take some of that off. Let's go for some more pure colour. Nice and light. Okay, so that's just a pretty quick going over, just kind of show the effect that I'm looking for. It probably needs a little bit more of a glaze, which is just like a really thin mid. Oh, come on, a bit more of a thin wash on there. That's actually going to bring it out a little bit. Normally, after you've done that, you'll actually do the edge, which I'll do some edge highlighting on now, which is your top colour. Some edge highlighting on there, and well, basically that's the effect I'm looking for. Not the best work I've done, and it does look a little bit chunky on there. So we'll see what happens on the next pass, but that's the effect I'm going for anyway from the blades. So from a distance away, doesn't look too bad at all. So that's the kind of effect I'm looking for. Again, a bit difficult doing it under pressure, and I must stress I am definitely not the best person at this. I've only done a few blades already so far. Some more patience. That's what you come up with. I'm going to blend a little bit more into the black, because you go back afterwards, mix some black in with your Warpstone Glow, and start going back towards black, so you can get more of a shadow on there as well. But that's kind of the graduation colour that I'm kind of looking for on there. But that's to give you an idea of how I'm going to paint them. So I'll do all of the blades. What I will do, actually, while I am here, here he is. This is the guy. I've got all my greens out here, so there he is. I'm going to show you just how to go over some of these other colours with my greens. So first thing, I'm going to do this while it's wet as well, and we'll see how well that turns out. So I'm going in for the Warpstone Glow, and I'm going to just put some blobs on there. If I can load the brush up a little bit better than I have been. Let's try that again. Which is what I'm going to go in there. I'm going to paint this part as well. Come on, in you go. Obviously I've got to do the other side as well. That's the Warpstone Glow. More or less in there. Okay, I'm going to switch straight over to my other green. Let's get some thin down moot green on there. Not too thin, that was like a wash. That's not the best thing to do. Let's try that again. Some more green, there we go. I'm all ready. So what we'll do is we'll go and put some nice I'm going to be putting a lot of my technical colour over this afterwards as well. Let's just show you that. Not the best coating on there. Let me just... There we go. And give it a wash. Oh no, we don't need to give it a wash. What am I doing? I'm going to put some neat paint on my palette, brush most of it off. I'm just going to flick this over these little veins here as well. Nothing too fancy, just over the top. Oh, which is that? Over the top, over the top. That's to give you that green effect on there. Keep going. I'll brush it over. I think what I'll do is, while I've got my green out, let's paint this tube. I can't remember how I painted my other tubes on there. I'm going straight on with the lighter green here. I'm going to bother with the darker green. Let's do this bit as well, why not? Okay, I'll try and do the back. It's a bit fiddly. I need to do the other side anyway for all of my grey work. some of that on there. Yeah. Might need to go back over if I go over with any of the green. Don't think you can quite see what I'm doing here. I can't see what I'm doing. Right, so got a green tube. That's the next thing. What else do we need to do? A little bit more in this corner. Yes. My camera, I should do this more often actually, because my camera's picking up things that I've not actually done, or colours I've missed. So, we've got the moot green on there. And the simple thing to do next, I'll just close my pots again. I'll get some more of my yellow. Let's give it, it's going to be very, very thin. Really don't need to put a lot on. Right, this is super easy actually, because I'm not even going to take a great deal of care on this part, but I am literally going to brush. Try and keep it towards the middle because it's quite thin. Okay, I've got a bit of yellow on the tubes there. Let's put a little bit of yellow on here. Brush a little bit on here. I don't have a lot left. Tiny little scrapes with the brush. And basically, that's my green effect. And again, close up of the camera, it's not perfect, but on a tabletop, wow, that's brilliant. Again, no skill. Anybody can do that. Once you've got the right paints, you've got a better brush than me. Some water, a nice wet palette. I'll just bring my wet palette over. It's quite a large wet palette. It's going to make the camera go a bit funny, but that's my wet palette with all my colours and stuff on it. And that is the next stage all complete. So I'll get the rest of them all done and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so we've jumped ahead a little bit now. I've done the bases in Xandri Dust. Oops. Zoom in, thank you very much. So we've done the bases in Xandri Dust. I've finished a lot of the other colourings and things. What I'm going to do next is, if I show you on this guy here, we're going to do the gold, Balthazar gold, and give it an ink wash as well. So that's what it's going to look like when it's done. So yeah, I'm going to be using some Balthazar gold and some Agrex Earthshade and Shader 2. So I've got this guy here. Oops. Hopefully it stays in focus while I do a little bit of painting. Let's switch to a decent brush and we'll start to give that a little coat and get started. So I'm going to go all over, do this a little bit on the side as well. Come on, it's nice and thin. Haven't put too much water in it, but it's quite a thin coat. Wow, kind of hard to see, but we're getting that paint on there. Let's get a little bit more on. Oops, go on, stay in focus please. And also we'll do the upper arms, just to give it a little bit more variation so it's not all the same colour, the same silver all the way through. But I always do the joints as well, which is, oh, let's get under here, it's quite hard to see. But basically that's going to be the Balthazar gold. I shall do the rest off camera. We'll give that a bit of a shake in the water. I'll switch to the base brush, which has taken a bit of a battering, and we'll get the Agrax Earthshade. Remember, give it a shake. There we go, there's a pot ready, and I've got this guy here who's already been done. Okay, I'm going to put quite a heavy wash on because it wants to drip towards the bottom. It gives you a nice little variation effect on that. I'll go back and show you the other model shortly, where the ink all dries down towards the bottom side, gives you some natural highlighting. So keep going with the Agrax. Let's put plenty on this bit here. Is there anywhere where I've missed? Yes, missed on there. Let's get some more on there. Let's get some more on there. Plenty. Don't have to be super accurate. It's an ink wash, it'll settle. Okay, so that's all been given a wash. So when it dries, don't know if the camera's going to pick it up too well, but it does, yeah, it does show darker staining towards the bottom, if you can see on the bottom part of the gold part of the leg on there. Other things I've done as well is I'll drop a little bit, see how his eyes are red. I just use a little blob of Blood Angel's red contrast paint there. What I'll do afterwards is I'll just blob in a couple of tiny dots of some bright red, some kind of scarlet colour on there, just to pick it out a little bit. So the next thing, oh, let's just close that up. Let's get a little bit of the contrast. I'm not going to be too exact and careful. I'm going to try and find some eyes that I've not done. This guy, there we go, not done the eyes on him, so I'm pretty much loading the brush up, to be perfectly honest with you, and just pop them in there. There's a contrast paint, doesn't matter if it goes outside the eyes, to be honest. Gives a little overspill on the glow. In fact, I might take a little bit of that off. I might put a little bit too much of that on there. There we go. Got some red for his eyes. Right. So the only other real thing to do on this is I've used Screaming Skull on the base just for the dry brush, and this is where I do switch from a stiff one to a softer. This is my Army Painter one. So use a small dry brush on that. Well, it's quite a heavy coat, to be honest. But I'll show you roughly how I'm going to do it. So I've got quite a bit on there. So let's get a bit of tissue, and I'm basically going to, still plenty on there. So it's quite a heavy dry brush, plenty of stuff on the top. We shall pick up this guy, and I'm just going to draw it across the base. So it's quite light, plenty of paint on it. I'm not going too heavy with the brush, so I don't damage it, but it's enough to pick up the areas, the highlights. So I don't use these brushes for the models where there are a lot of flat pieces, because it's very, very soft bristle, this thing. So it's pretty much used exclusively for bases or anything with scales or fur. Oh, if I can keep that in focus again. Loves focusing on my thumb. Yeah, so I'll just keep going. Just rub it on again, no skill, just light pressure on the base, give you that texture. So we'll just stand back from there, and that's a dry brush done on the base. So that is effectively everything that I'm going to do. so it's actually going to be tabletop ready. I'll just show you a couple of other bits and pieces. So I've done the plasma sights. You can see the green colour, and if I can show you in the light, I've got like a wash on there with some a null oil wash. I think I went over the top of the grey with on that one. There's all the guns done on my warriors. I'll do their eyes red, so it's all finished off quite nicely with all their guns. So yeah, that's pretty much how I'm going to do everything. And oh, I do love those guys. They look so nice. Just from a distance on the tabletop, just swarms of them everywhere. They look fantastic. So that's basically the contents of my Necron Elite box. I'll do a few little bits and pieces. I'll show you. There's my Lord. So I've done the same thing with Balthazar Gold and the wash on the top of it. I've also done those little green dots on there. I need to dab some little yellow pieces on as well. Yeah, so that's the Warhammer 40,000 Necron Elite set, basically complete. I've got another 2 sets of those. My Indomitor set still hasn't arrived, but rumour has it they'll be shipping it any day, subject to pandemic and lockdown rules and things. So if the rumours are correct, it won't take long for me to get my Indomitor set, so I get to do it all again and again and again. So I'm going to have quite a substantial army. So so that's what my guys have done. That's how I paint my models. I just thought I'd show this off. Some people have been asking me a few questions about it, sending me messages on Twitter. If you want to see some of the stuff, you can follow me at Minkster50 at MPOWL on Twitter. So you'll be able to find me there, see some of the pictures, not just Warhammer but other things as well, some of my stuff on my Xbox, just things I'm into really. So if you want to join me on Twitter, feel free. If you like the content of my video, let me know. If you think I'm doing something wrong or can be better, put some comments down as well in the video description, because that will be fantastic. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to send me more messages on Twitter if you want to do so as well. So that's pretty much how I paint these guys. Probably gone on for a little bit longer than I thought, and you can probably knock these out in a day doing it the way I've done it, and I'm sure there's a lot more people out there a lot better at painting than me that can do it a lot quicker. So so that's what I wanted to show you today, folks. Yeah, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.